grab your cup. Have you ever had times where your brain is stuck in like a looping hell of thoughts where you just keep going over and over? Why did I say that? Why didn't I say this? Why did he say that? What did that mean? What's going to happen next? What if? You just keep looping over and over and over a scenario or a situation or something that hasn't even happened yet. I call it being stuck in your pain brain. You have pain brain because your brain won't leave or walk away from something that's giving you a lot of anxiety. You might also have heard the term monkey mind. Some people call it a monkey mind, where your mind is just it's all over the place. You can't really control it. You can't focus, and it keeps going where it wants to go. Sometimes we see it in our body and, how you move through your day. You're always in a frenetic rush, right? Like, do you ever have the thought, why am I rushing? It's not that I need to rush, but I always have this feeling of I have to be rushing, or I can't sit still. I can't just sit and be. If I'm going to sit, I'm going to do 2 or 3 other things while I sit. And while I'm sitting, I notice my leg keeps bouncing, or I have to drum my hands. Things like that, where your body can't just be still. When you're stuck in pain brain, or when your body is continually going, it's a very clear sign that your nervous system is in a triggered on. It's been upregulated to be hypervigilant, to think it has to get away from something. It has to handle something, anything like that. And sometimes we're not even aware of what it is because we've been like that for years. Maybe it's been years since you've allowed yourself to just settle down. When we get stuck in fight or flight, the examples that I gave you are pretty much examples of being in flight, right? Keep running, keep going, keep running, keep going. The brain, the body, both keep running and keep going. You're in flight. And when that happens, you have to teach your nervous system how to calm down, and how you want to find ways to down regulate back to a place of peace and rest. So here's one really key thing that you can use. And in fact, it's difficult to down regulate if you don't get access to this, and it's access to pleasure. So if you're a person who feels like you're always in anxiety or you're always doing things, I want you to ask yourself, how often do you experience pleasure throughout your day? When was the last time you let yourself just sit and have some pleasure in an experience? So there's a lot of ways that you can get pleasure, and you may be thinking like, I don't even know how that would feel. It's been so long, I can't even relate to that. But there's lots of little things that can give us pleasure. You might just enjoy like lighting a candle. Or one of the things that I really enjoy is early in the morning, like when I finish my cup and it's light enough, I like to be outside, or when it's lighter or sooner, be outside and listen to the birds. Even just close my eyes, even if it's for 2 minutes, listening to the birds and how they talk to each other in that early morning stillness of the day gives me pleasure. So pleasure is a down regulator of the nervous system, because when you're in the experience of pleasure, the body says, I must be safe. If I wasn't safe, I wouldn't be feeling pleasure or having this experience. So when you can find ways to give yourself small bouts of pleasure throughout the day, you're now teaching your nervous system, number one, you're teaching it how to downregulate, and that's super important if you're always in an anxious or stressed out state. You've got to teach yourself how to downregulate. But also, once you get in that place, now you can figure out, what is it that's been driving this? What is it that has me constantly feel anxious and stressed? Because it could be things from years ago, things that you've been holding for a long time, and maybe that's why you've been feeling anxious for a very long time. But you can't decipher that, and you can't process it out when you're in a state of an upregulated nervous system, when you're in a state of anxiety, because you're just going to be stuck in that hypervigilance. When you get yourself down to, okay, I'm safe, I'm feeling pleasure, now I can process out what there is to need to process out. Now you can look at, what was I really feeling? What was the thing that upset me? Or whatever it is you need to do. There's a lot of things we work on in getting rid of the anxiety that we hold. But the point of this conversation is you have to first downregulate your nervous system. And pleasure is a wonderful micro down regulator. So small bouts of pleasure throughout the day will help you to regulate and then figure out. So it's going to show up in how you communicate in your relationships. If you learn how to manage your nervous system like that and somebody comes home from their day, you show up differently in how you communicate with that person, how you can sit and listen to them and whatever they're experiencing, how you manage your response to them and what they do. There's a phrase that's called state will drive your story. The state that you're in, that your nervous system is going to create the story that you get in your head about what's going on. So if someone walks in the door and they say something, and one story could be, they just really disrespected me. That's a possible story that you might have in your head about what they said. Another story could be, they've had a really bad day. They're upset about something. And not have it make anything be about you, but it's about them. Two very different stories. The same person said the same thing. The state that you are in is going to drive the story that you have in your head. And then the story that you have in your head is going to be the thing that you respond from. So it's either going to be a powerful response that moves everybody forward and creates a good space between you, or it's going to be a story that pushes people away. It's going to be a story that drives defensiveness or a fight response. So learning how to manage your state is critical. Finding ways to have pleasure throughout the day. So I would love for you to drop in the comments what gives you pleasure. And if you think about it and you realize, I don't even know, I haven't even connected to what gives me pleasure in all kinds of small ways. You don't have to stop your day and go on vacation. You can have pleasure throughout your day. What does that for you? Put that in the comments and notice how difficult it is to come up with something. Okay? Have a good day.